Okay.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our first episode of Tea Time with Unfold. I'm your host, Hiba, and I'm really excited to have alongside me Phil, who is the creative director of product at the Unfold company design agency. And we're really excited to have you guys today because Phil is going to walk us through redesigning a Web3 product in Figma. Web3 has been killing it lately. We've been getting a lot of projects coming in for Web3. I've had the pleasure to work on multiple projects for Web3 under Phil's guidance, which I'm really excited to learn more today. So Phil, please introduce yourself, tell people how amazing you are, and let's get started.
What's up? Yeah, so I'm Phil, as Hiba said, one of two creative directors on the product side at Unfold, along with my buddy Evan. And I love product design, have so much fun with it, too much fun with it. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm actually gonna go ahead and share my screen, Hiba, if that's okay. You gotta enable me to share, though. I can't. You're the host.
Yep. We'll do that.
Stream number one, y'all. Stream number one. So shout out to my wife and son, who believe are watching right now. I think my other two little girls might be asleep. But being a dad is a big part of what I do, and so you gotta give family shout outs. All right, let's see.
Oh my God, how do I allow record local files? Look at us. How do I get you to do this? I'm looking into it. Let's see. How do I get you to do this? Advanced sharings, multiple participants can share. Okay, how about this? Try it now.
Oh, let's go. Oh yeah, okay.
Nice.
All right, I'm just gonna share a little Safari window. All right, you guys let me know. Can you see this?
Yes.
All right, cool. So this awesome little avatar here was drawn by our own Bogdan at Unfold, one of our illustrators. He's awesome. I think he's illustrated every one of our people in this really fun little Unfold style. You even see that little wink to the smile with the Unfold half circle there. Well done, Bo. So I'm Phil. I like emojis and light mode. Unpopular opinion for designers. I like my white space, literally white space, not just I'm not really a dark mode guy. So I have my short bio here, pretty straightforward. I'm a follower of Jesus. I love Jesus. I'm a husband. I'm a dad of 3 kids, and co-creative director of product at Unfold. And I'm a Web3 nerd. That's my most recent add to my short and sweet bio. I love crypto and Web3. I have so much fun. I have too much fun in it. My wife would tell you I spend too much time researching and checking out stuff on this front. So super fun space. I love it. But that's me. Before I dive into explaining because a lot of people might see Web3 and go, what in the world is Web3? What's Web2 and Web1? Where Web3 come from? So maybe I shouldn't go there yet. Hiba, I'm going to give it back to you for a second.
Oh my God, yes. I definitely need to know a little bit more about the difference between Web 1, Web 2, Web 3. I mean, I have an understanding and it helps with design, but I know that when we were working with Solana, you guys did an educational piece. So maybe we can call that out and people can go in there and kind of learn a little bit more about what are the components in Web 3.
Yeah, low key, I'm going to do a shameless plug for that tool that we did in this presentation.
Please.
So it will come. Cool. Nice. So what is Web3? Web3 is kind of hard to, I was having a hard time coming up with the definition. So I figured let's just go to Wikipedia because Wikipedia knows all things. Second to Google, but a lot of times Google defers to Wikipedia. So the way that somebody wrote up on Wikipedia, like what is Web3? What's that? So it's an idea for a new iteration of the World Wide Web, the WWW, which incorporates concepts like decentralization, blockchain technologies, and token-based economics. So you guys have probably heard of Bitcoin, Ethereum. Hiba just mentioned Solana, which I'm a huge fan of. Unfold, we're huge fans of Solana. Solana's a client of ours. They've been killing it in the space. Tons of stuff being built on their blockchain. But at the TLDR of Web3 that I kind of like is it's a web where you own all of your stuff, right? You own all of your own money, all of your own data. It's not owned by big tech, right? Big tech is Web 2. Web 2 is centralized data storage. That's your Facebook, your Twitter. They're all kind of in separate silos, and they kind of all own your data. They say sometimes in, I've heard it said that if you aren't paying for the product, then you are the product, right? So if you're using Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you're like, hey, this is a great free platform. Well, they're kind of monetizing you, right? So you're the product. In Web3, you own all of your own data. So the idea that you can connect into a site and withdraw your connection from a site, and you can pull all your stuff. So they don't actually own your data. It's a non-custodial type situation. You are the custodian of your own information, your own money, your own data about you. So that's kind of the idea behind Web3. So pretty cool. That's like really a big overview. Did I do okay? Kind of like introing Web3.
You did a great job.
Make sense? Okay.
Yeah, you simplified it really well.
So kind of what we're talking about today is design, right? So why design for Web3? Well, from what I've been finding out, Web3 is super new, right? There's a lot of new stuff. A lot of people have just gotten into to things like Bitcoin and Ethereum, probably in this last kind of bull run, they might call it. We had one in 2017 where Bitcoin went crazy, hit like $19,000. I was like, what in the world is this? That's kind of when it piqued my attention for the first time in 2017. And just again in 2021, it had another big run, and Bitcoin went up to like $65,000 a coin. Everything in the Web3 and crypto market seems to follow the Bitcoin kind of price action. So a lot of people started paying attention again. That's when Solana really had a big run, and they started gaining popularity. And so a lot of stuff's getting built on this new technology. So the space is full of developers. It's full of people that are building really cool things, but they don't have front ends. They don't have UIs. A lot of them, yeah. A lot of them are being done in command line interfaces, in terminal on Mac. People just, it's all engineering. It's all back end tech. So there's a ton of opportunities for front end, for front end design here. And so a lot of the products that we're seeing come out in Web3 right now they're pretty like on the UI, right? A lot of developers are actually having to do their own UIs. So they're pulling just kind of basic kits or whatever. And so there's a lot of, it's an ocean. I just like to say it's a landscape of, it's an ocean of opportunity for product designers. There's so many products that are coming out, and there's so much stuff that can be redesigned and rethought based on, what we know as product designers, as far as good user experiences, good UI practices. And so we're going to talk through one of those today on here, but this is why design for Web3? Well, there's a ton of money coming into that space because it's new, right? It's kind of like when the internet was coming out for the first time, tons of money flooding into Web3. Yeah. I mean, there's new raises every week. Millions of dollars are being poured into this space every week. And so as a product designer, it's a good time to get into product design in general, because it's a big demand for product designers. Everything's going digital, everything. When COVID happened, so many companies went remote and have stayed remote, or have some kind of hybrid work environment, or an optional remote option, or optional office option. So tons of stuff is being driven by products, by digital products and UIs and interfaces and user experiences that are totally based online and not in person. So you add this Web3 component. Oh, yep. Sorry. Interrupt me anytime you want.
It's okay. No, I have so many questions. This is really good. And I'm pretty sure people who are going to be watching it are having a lot of questions too. And I wanted to ask you about, like, what does Web3 right now look like previously, so that people can kind of like draw a comparison. So does this look like early 2000s internet, 1990s internet? What are we looking at, and so that we can kind of understand the growth, and what does that look like for designers themselves? So like, I know, for example, I have a background in graphic design, right? And then I got into product design. So what does that look like right now compared to where it was before? Can you share a visual comparison?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So really first thing I'll address, like Web 1, Web 2, because that's going to kind of give a little bit of context for that visual comparison. When I think about Web 1, I think about the introduction of the internet in general. Email was like the first thing, right? Before there was a World Wide Web with Netscape Navigator. Those of you who are old enough to remember Netscape Navigator, there was probably a browser before that when I was even littler. But the first thing was email. That was like the first part of the internet, of the World Wide Web, was just email, it was communication through like digital letters, right? And then it went into like Web 2, which is started being these centralized platforms and big data centers kind of holding lots and petabytes of data. So you think about like the introduction of Web 3 right now is kind of like the late 90s, early 2000s. Of where kind of the UIs are. Now we've already come probably a little further than we were then, just due to the fact that all of that was new, right? The internet was like a brand new thing. But if you want to kind of compare where Web3 will be in 5-10 years, you can kind of look at the difference between like the internet in the year 2000 versus the internet today and what it looks like. The visual comparison, that is. Does that kind of answer the question?
Yes, absolutely. And we all know how we feel about internet early 2000s, right?
It was awesome.
It was great.
It was, you didn't know that it was going to get any better.
No. I love this.
The days of Napster and streaming, downloading music and a song taking 20 minutes to download, a 3 megabyte song taking 20 minutes to download on dial-up,
Oh my God, we're not going to talk about dial-up. I have to explain that to my kids right now, But it's
like explaining how to mail a letter. Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. No, this brings me back to, okay, so we have kind of an example. It's not as bad as early 2000s, but we have an example of a product that you've come across and that you want to kind of help us redesign. So hopefully this would be like a good segue. Go ahead.
I got to give the shameless plug real quick. Before we get into it, I got to give the shameless plug. So there's so much to be explored in crypto. Like, we're not gonna be able to get into the nuances. In this talk, you could spend hours and hours and hours just kind of familiarizing yourself with the basics of Web3, crypto, NFTs. A lot of people have heard of NFTs in the last couple of years because of Bored Ape Yacht Club, and a lot of other NFTs. That's a whole nother topic. We should do a whole tea time around NFTs. It's really fun. But we did put out a thing. So we did our own NFT collection as Unfold. We did a 10,000 piece like profile picture collection. And we put out this kind of resource initially to kind of educate people who are, brand new to NFTs, to crypto, to minting. What in the world is minting? So we did this site called Solana Playbook. And this is still live right now. Anybody that wants to kind of go get a little bit of education, it probably takes you about 10 or 15 minutes to read through this site. It kind of gives you some introduction, talks to you about wallets, what are NFTs, how does minting work. And so we have this whole site is available. Anybody can go check it out. It's awesome.
And I love this site.
.com.
This site really helped me kind of understand before getting on my first W3 project. It really helped me understand how everything works, so that alongside obviously downloading the different products themselves, it helped me understand the minute concepts that, they're complicated words, and some of them are super, super fun to kind of like understand. But it really helped because then I got into the project informed. At least I had a foundation, and then I was able to build on that knowledge. So I would highly recommend going to the solanaplaybook.com website and checking it out, especially because I remember when we were working on this, Phil, we simplified it so that it was clear layman's terms content, so that anybody who stumbles on it can actually understand how to learn this. Oh my God, can you tell that I'm nervous and like my words are stumbling?
You're doing great.
Thank you, Phil. You're killing it.
This is fun. I told Hiba, I've always wanted a YouTube channel, and my wife knows this. She's probably laughing at me right now. I've always wanted a YouTube channel. I've always wanted to like just be on YouTube. So, hey, I'm on YouTube, Mom. I'm on YouTube, babe. Okay. So solanaplaybook.com. It's awesome. So here's what you were referencing a minute ago, Hiba, what we're going to kind of take a look at today. So we're here to talk about design, not just crypto. So we're going to combine those two things and talk about this one product that I came across about 2 weeks ago, called Sharky.fi. And Sharky is basically a place where they allow users to put up money. So they basically allow users to act as a lender, right? And so that other people can borrow that money and put up some collateral for it. In this case, NFTs. So a real world example would be like, let's say you want to get a home equity line of credit, right? You need a little extra money to do a renovation to your house. Maybe you want to buy a car and you don't want to finance the car. You'd rather do it through like a home equity line of credit. So you go to your bank or a bank and say, I've got this house. I want to put my house up as collateral and I want to borrow some money. So I'm going to say like, hey, I'm basically putting my house on the line to say, I want to borrow like $20,000. And the bank will say, sure. They get a lien on your property, right? So you got to make sure to pay that money back, but they'll give you the money. You can go buy the car, right? So the same idea here on a smaller scale. So Sharky is going to allow you to put up an NFT as a borrower and borrow a certain amount of money off of that. And you got to make sure to pay it back in a certain amount of time or you're going to get foreclosed on per se, right? And that person who lended you the money is going to then get to keep your NFT, your piece of collateral, right? Your house in this case.
So before we get started, Phil, I just want to know, how did you find this? How do you come across these websites?
So I'm so like plugged into the space right now. My Twitter feed is full of crypto Twitter. And so I'm an NFT Twitter. So I'm seeing tons of like retweets and products and things people are building all the time. And so I'm always on the lookout for products that kind of catch my eye, not only as like something to use, like I want to try it out, but also ones that I'm like, I could play around with this and maybe try and some improvements on this and kind of see where it would go. I want to play around with an improved UX and improved UI for this. So this is a lot of these act as like a good practice ground also for product design. So there's a lot of things like this. When I saw this website, I was like, oh, I could totally get in here and play around with this. And we're going to look at the actual UI in a minute. This is just kind of a quick shot of their landing page. There's already a few things here that are a little bit problematic, but we'll kind of get into some of those pieces once we actually get into into looking at the product. But
and I want to, I want to get into. Man, Phil, you got to give me like a little bit of a break. So I have like so much comments, so many questions, so many things. Like I'm so curious about the way that you work. I also want to let people know about the way that you work too, as a mentor for me and the product team. Like I admire the way that you work and the way that your mind works. And actually, this is the first time that I know that, I know you're plugged into the crypto world, the W3 world, but I didn't know that that's how you kind of find these projects. And your dribble is a testament to what you do. So a lot of times I've noticed that you do take some of these products and you redesign them, and you've been building your portfolio that way. And that's brought us a lot of clients, and it's brought us, freelance work for the rest of the team who's looking to work with smaller companies as well. So I think like for people who want to get into the W3 space, look at how Phil is doing it. So get into the Twitter sphere, check out, the channels that are within the W3 space, and see what products they're putting out there, because they need a lot of help. Kind of like what Phil was saying, these are developers trying to design. So they definitely need designers. AI cannot replace designers. And no matter how hard, I keep saying this, no matter how hard, they build art and all of that, which is great and it's beautiful, but they cannot replace a human's mind. So if you're trying to get into the W3 space, if you're trying to transition from graphic design, maybe product design from finance into W3, this is a great way to kind of like build your portfolio.
Yeah, I can't tell you. Like, so I think I've heard Dan Petty talk about this, how he landed years ago, I believe National Geographic, I think he actually ended up working in National Geographic for a while. And that was kind of based off some just fun kind of work he did. Like, hey, I could redesign some stuff for fun, reached out to them and they like hired him off of it. And so it's kind of like a new strategy that I'm kind of playing with at Unfold, is like, hey, you want to put out the work that you want to get. Right. So if I want to work on Web3 platforms, then I want to put out work that is in that realm. Right. So I'm putting out work on my dribble. I'm spending extra time that I have at work, these like little pockets where I can kind of hop in, experiment with like a UI, and push that out. Yeah. On dribble, and then tweet these companies, say, what's up? When we're going to partner up, let's do something. And it kind of acts as like it's a way of also like a practice, but also of like, it's a way to like try to get a lead. Right. And it's like something I actually want to work on. So I actually want these projects. So I'm going to, play around with designing this stuff. So that's something I would encourage anybody that is just getting into product design or has been into product design for a long time. And speaking as somebody who's had to go through hiring, new people onto a team, I'm more interested in kind of that self-initiated, attempts at UIs and like redesigns than I am of like credentials of past places you've worked. Like I'm always looking to see like, hey, okay, so you did this thing. I know we had one of our team members, Esther, in her, I remember from her interview and her website, she had done this thing for Warby Parker that was kind of her own initiated thing. She just kind of like rethought some UI and UX for their website. And that was like one thing that was part of her interview process. I saw that I was like, oh, this is really killer. Somebody who takes that self-initiated, go at just going after it, that's the kind of stuff that I'm looking for. And so are these other companies who are like, like Sharky or like any of these other products. Like they want help, right? They want designers, they want good products that people want to use. And Sharky has an amazing backend. I mean, the platform works incredibly. I've lended a few different times on the platform, and the returns are like, it's like a couple percent in a week, back on your money. So it's a super cool platform. Sorry, I'm starting to ramble a little bit about things.
It's okay. It shows passion, right? So I just want to like talk a little bit about what you were saying. If like you're building self-initiated projects, you're learning from them, you're showing passion. So you're definitely going to be standing out from the crowd, and you're going to be growing. So I think that's exactly why I would prefer to also like hire somebody who's trying to look for problems and solving them on their own, because it shows that that's what they're going to be doing while they're working with us, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So tell us, why is this website problematic, Phil?
Well, I'm going to get to it.
Oh, I'm rushing.
I got a couple more things. I want to address a couple more like little pieces. So yeah, we're going to get into some of the nitty gritty of the UI, but first I wanted to choose this style that I've kind of been playing with. I kind of call it brutalist modern. So this is kind of how I came into this product. I saw Sharky.fi and I was like, I think there's some things we could improve on here. I want to also experiment with this wacky style of like hard blacks and vibrant colors like purples and greens. I've wanted to like kind of get into playing with this. And I did this a little dribble shot around this idea like a couple months ago. And I wanted to really like flush out like an actual UI with it. All I did in the shot was like a form field and like some animations with it. And I was like, I kind of want to flesh this out a little bit more. What could this look like adapted to a full UI? So this was kind of like choosing the style that I wanted. And this is like I did a quick search. I didn't spend a whole lot of time gathering inspiration. Literally went on Dribbble. I think I typed in like, I don't even know what I typed in, crypto or modern brutalist. I don't even know what I put in there. But these are all a bunch of the images that I saw that kind of caught my eye as far as color schemes go. I was like, I really like these colors, these stark blacks, these like really vibrant pops of purple, green, yellowish colors. So this was kind of like choosing a style. So that was kind of how I set the groundwork for myself for where we're going to go next. Good.
I love it. Okay. Yeah, no, absolutely.
All right. So now we'll jump into it. So how about a little critique, eh? We'll take a look at color, UI patterns. We'll inevitably going to be talking about some best practice type things, all the things UI related. We're going to touch on that in this. So right off the get-go, I had to like redesign the logo. Now I'm not a logo designer. I'm not a brand designer. In my freelance days, in my I spent about 9 years working only freelance. I didn't work for anybody for about 9 years. And I was kind of like, I'll do anything. If you design on a computer, I'll do it. So I had some time working in logos, but it's not my thing. Our branding department is next level. They could have done a much better job with this. This was about a 10-minute job on my part to do this. But in looking at their logo was kind of the first issue that I had with stuff. This little shark kind of coming through a picture frame. The symbol itself, it's all right. The main issue that I had with it was the color, right? So like orangey yellow and red I don't know where do you see most of the time, Hiba, orange and red or yellow and red logos?
I'm seeing McDonald's.
Uh-huh.
I'm just gonna be
Fast
food,
food.
a lot of food.
Fast
Yep.
food. So if you Google fast food restaurant logos, you're gonna catch a lot of red, yellow, right? Tons of red and yellow and orange, because these are like aggressive colors, right? They make you hungry almost. Like when you see these colors, you're like, I should act on this, you know? So it's I was like, we don't necessarily need that on a decentralized finance platform where you're involving people's money. You don't want them to necessarily feel like it's an aggressive platform, right? Or maybe you do. I don't know. But I didn't want it to feel that way. So I went to, I've got a subscription to Streamline, really cool UI, icon spot, streamlinehq.com. I bought some lifetime stuff from them a long time ago. So it's a good trusty spot for me for finding icons. They've got like tens of thousands of them and they're all done really well. So I literally just searched Streamline for shark, right? I found this really cool icon of a hammerhead shark and it was facing up. So I turned it 90 degrees and I colored it purple and I had a logo for Sharky.fi. And then I added beta in there just to kind of match they had a beta. So that was kind of number one. I wanted to shift this thing over to those stark blacks and purple and yellow green neons, right? So that was kind of what I did here.
Can you speak for why you chose this color palette?
So the color palette choice is pretty arbitrary for me in this case. It wasn't strategic necessarily. I know that I didn't want red and yellow. Specifically, okay, so red and yellow together, they do kind of shout fast food restaurant, but red is also, red and yellow are both like not good UI colors as main like call to action colors, mainly because red is like error, right? When you see red, you think stop sign, red light, error, bad, like if there's something going on that's not good, it's red, right? When it comes to user interfaces, even in real life, like running into, like I just mentioned, right? Stop signs, stop lights. So it's kind of a, red is just not, it's kind of more negative. It's just got negative connotations. And orange is a really hard color accessibility wise to address. Accessibility being like, you want people to be able to read text, you know, orange text is horrible most of the time. If you want it to be really legible, it needs to be almost brown, right? Or if you want an orange button and you want white text on it, probably not going to pass accessibility. Somebody who's colorblind, probably not gonna be able to read your words. So just those two colors together as like your main central point, I knew I didn't want that. So as far as what I actually chose, kind of more arbitrary, just because I wanted to use some kind of radical color combos is really more what that was about. But I felt like it would still work in this case because it's Web3, it's a little edgy, and these were safe colors.
Yeah, so I'm seeing a lot of neon colors in the W3 space, and I think it's very futuristic. So, and then a lot of, I know you are I'm like you, I like light mode as well, but for some reason, W3 products are veering towards the dark mode. And I think because it kind of gives you more of a futuristic vibe. And the neon colors on dark backgrounds actually are more legible, they're readable, and they have a better contrast with the dark background. So I think this logo definitely works. And the purple, purple gang in the chat. We have a whole thing about the color purple on our team, which maybe one day we can kind of talk about during tea time. We have battle of the colors in our office, and we have color teams. So purple, I'm not on the purple team. I'm just gonna leave it there.
Yeah, purple gang. I'm teal gang myself. Teal team.
I'm yellow gang.
Yellow. Gang. Okay. Yeah, we should have a tea time about gang wars at Unfold at some point.
Yeah.
But okay, so moving on from the logo, is there anything else you want to touch on the logo before I hit on the main page of Sharky?
No, I'm curious to see how it looks like once you start redesigning the page itself. Right now, all I can see is those buttons. Oh man. Hierarchy.
Those buttons, they're loud, man. They're loud. They're like, click me.
Yeah.
But it's not a good click me. It's like and then you got this kind of like yellow with white on top up here. This is kind of hard to read this. Hurts your eyes a little bit to like read that 5778 5788. So this is the main page. When you sign into Sharky, yeah, and that sweet noisy, it's like a noisy color. It's like colored noise in the background. I don't really know what that is. It's not helping with the distraction feature, thing here. So, but this is the main page. When you actually get in, so Web3 works a little different. You don't have username and password for Web3 applications. You have, like I said, you own all your data. So you connect into a website and you disconnect. So you go in to interact with it and you disconnect from it to get away from it. So in the case of Sharky, it's that way. So you have a connect your wallet, right? Which I think you might have seen was right here on this main page. So select wallet up here. So that's that's the authentication of Web3. Just so there's some reference point. You hit select wallet, you'll choose your wallet, which is normally happening in a browser extension, and then you're in. Okay. So in this case, it shows I've connected my wallet. This is my little wallet address, a bunch of alphanumeric characters that represent me on the blockchain. And so right here at the top on the main page, you can see some of the navigation stuff, which we're going to address. And then they've got some text here and then right into a table, right? So the main page is all about choosing a collection you want to loan to. So the main page kind of appeals to the lenders. So you want to loan out your hard-earned money to these people. This is kind of where you decide who you want to loan that money to. So at the top, you have lend and offers, and those are both related. So they kind of group those together, which is cool, right? These are both having to do with lending. So once I actually put up money for someone to an offer, a loan offer, and someone actually takes my offer, then it goes into this offers tab, right? Everything over here on the right is all have to do with borrowing. So you can go to borrow. That's where you would put up one of your own NFTs and you want to borrow someone else's money that they've said that they'll give you, right? And then the loans tab, any loans that you've gotten, that's kind of going to give you your, where you're at with your loan, how many days you have left to pay it back, all that kind of stuff. I wasn't a huge fan of the nav, so I did spend some time redesigning how the navigation was going to work. But just to kind of give you a little bit of reference down here inside of a collection. So what we have in this table, you have the actual collection itself. In this case, at the top, Sharks, which is actually the collection that Sharky.fi just minted out last week. So they just did their own collection and did really well. So there's an available pool of money. So this is money that people have said, yeah, I'm willing to lend somebody money if they'll put up their Sharky NFT called Sharks here. So there's 981.19. This little symbol right here is for Solana. That's how much Solana token someone's willing to put up. Same thing as like an ETH token or a Bitcoin token. This is just the Solana one. And then it tells, what's the highest offer that these, lenders are willing to give, 3.8 SOL for it. This is going to tell you the APY is annual percentage yield, which a lot of decentralized finance platforms talk about APYs, annual yields, but nobody really keeps their money in these things for a year, right? So it's a little bit, to me, it was a little bit disingenuous to show APY here. It kind of makes it look like, wow, 160% return on my money. That's not really true. Quite. Okay. And then duration, which is how long these loans are good for. So once someone takes your money and puts up their NFT, they have that much time to pay you back, or you get to keep their NFT. So
I have questions.
Pretty nifty. Yeah. Hit me with the questions.
Because I'm already lost. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah. So we're talking offers. Is this like an auction as well? And then there's so many offers. So I'm confused.
Yes. So it's not like an auction.
Question?
It's not like an auction, but it kind of sort of is. So let's say that I get into, so this Sharks collection, let's say it has so all NFTs are valued, they can kind of span in what they're worth, right? What the market deems them, what they're worth. The lowest priced one that people are buying is called the floor price. Yes. So that's the least that people are like buying them for. So if a collection has, you can go look at a certain collection and there might be a 5 SOL floor price, but people might pay all the way up to 500 SOL for one of these. But the lowest price that they're going for is like 5 SOL, right? 5 or 6 or whatever. In this case on this top line. Mm-hmm. And so what these lenders are doing is saying, I'll loan up to a certain percentage of what that floor value is. So if these Sharks here are worth, let's say they're worth 10 SOL, just to make the math easy. What this lender is saying that he put up 3.8 SOL, he's saying, I'm willing to put up 38% value off that 10 sold this thing's worth. So I'll loan you 38% the value of your NFT as long as you pay it back to me within 16 days. So that's kind of what's going on here. So a ton of people will put offers in, right? So in this case, it shows we got 605 people who have taken offers and 1,549 people who have put offers out there. So typically the people who offer the highest are going to get borrowed from first. So because as a borrower, I want to get the max amount that I can get, right, for my collateral. So if one lender, think about it for your house, right? If you go to one bank and you say they'll say, we'll give you, up to $80,000 on a home equity line of credit for the value of your house. And you go to another lender and they're like, we'll give you $100,000 for this, you put up the same house, but we'll give you $100,000. As a borrower, you might say, I want to have access to that 100,000, not just the 80. So it's kind of the same idea here. These borrowers are going to take the offers that are higher, right? So does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So do you think when it comes to UX, UI, this design explains that accurately? Is it intuitive for people who are, or is this for more, this is designed for a clientele or a persona that is more familiar with the crypto world?
This would definitely be someone more familiar. You wouldn't be like a newbie in crypto and probably like going to do something like this. So, but I wouldn't say this is like super advanced either. And so you're kind of, the market here is kind of more your people who are familiar with crypto and familiar with NFTs, but maybe they haven't really gotten into anything decentralized finance yet, or they haven't loaned their Solana out, or they haven't borrowed off of one of their digital assets. So they do have some descriptive text here, like, so make loan offers on NFT collections. That's cool. Browse collections below, name your price. The current best offer will be shown to borrowers. To take your offer, they lock in an NFT from that collection to use as collateral. You will be repaid at the end of the loan plus interest. If they fail to repay, you get to keep the NFT. So they explain the whole thing. That's a lot of text though, right there at the introduction. Like, it just looks visually, I'm like, that's kind of multiple lines of text on a pretty wide screen to like explain to me how this works. So once I know how this works, I don't need to have that text like in my face, right?
And then everything feels on the same level. There's no hierarchy of information. So I agree with you. Okay, so tell us more. Yeah.
Okay, so I went in. I'll talk about kind of some of the redesign choices. So you can kind of see that I went ahead and took that. Whoop. Oh no. Is my thing not linked right? There we go. Okay. So I wanted to I wanted to streamline the top navigation a little bit. Like I talked about before, they kind of had 4 options, but 2 of them were grouped and another 2 were grouped, right? So I kind of would have preferred the idea of saying, hey, lend or borrow. That's kind of like where I want to be in the app. I want to be a lender. I want to be a borrower. So that's kind of like, I'm thinking top down, highest level. Where am I at on this website? So am I lending or am I borrowing, right? So once I'm lending, and then I want information about lending, right? So then I wanted to shorten that text at the top from having that really long header and that really long paragraph to just shorten it up, right? I'm on lend, make loan offers on NFT collections. If you're not paid back on time, you get to keep the NFT. Simple, straightforward, right? For a little bit more information, I added this like little image off to the right. Again, another nod to Streamline. This is like a freebie illustration that they offered. But I kind of have like a little how it works blurb over there, but it's kind of tucked out of the way a little bit. So it also acts as like adding a little bit of visual interest to the page. So it kind of accomplishes 2 things. I'm able to bring in a little bit, because this is all data and tables, right? So I'm able to bring in a little bit of illustrative type element in here, some extra color pop, but also use it as like a descriptive kind of, this is how this thing works. And so I tried to give a little bit more information over there as to what exactly is going on here. And then I've got kind of you're making offers, or there's offers that you've made. So making offers is kind of like, I want to search, I want to find something, some collection I want to make an offer on. Offers made is like, I've made an offer on this collection and I'm either waiting for a borrower to pick it up and take up my offer, or there's a borrower that's already done that and I'm monitoring their progress, like how many days they have left before they could get, that NFT becomes mine, basically. So I added in a couple of things here, just as far as best practices. I know on Sharky right now, they don't have the ability to search. So there's a lot of collections in this table. I think Sharky's probably supporting like a really good chunk of NFT collections. And there's no way to search it. So you kind of just right now you have to scroll down and find or hit Control F on your keyboard and search with the browser, find a name. And there's no way to sort those things either. So if I want to sort according to something like the most recently added collection, like I'm showing here, there's no way to really do that right now. So I added those little guys at the top. So just a search and a sort option. So just seeing our chat. So there's a couple, you got a couple things up there. They're just kind of more best practices, introduction of some best practice there. And then I redesigned the table a little bit. I tried to make it feel some of the big differences outside of color. We've already discussed some of the color stuff. Is that like percent return per loan column. So if you guys remember, we kind of talked about APY on that last screen, which is all about this annual return, except that for each one of these loans, there's only a return that happens within that loan duration. So these are how long these loans are good for: 16 days, 7 days, 14 days. So my return is only going to happen in that time frame, not a year, right? So I wanted to break it down to something that was a little bit more genuine, which is something you always want to do in an interface, right? You don't want to put in like deceptive UI patterns. Not that Sharky was trying to be deceptive. It's kind of a common practice to do this like APY thing in DeFi, decentralized finance. It just doesn't really work in their case, in my opinion. So in this case, it's much more genuine, right? I can know that if I lend on this Sharks NFT collection, I'm going to have a 4.28% return on my money in 16 days. That's pretty dang good. I think banks right now offer like 0.05, 0.025% interest on your money in a bank. So this is pretty good, right? I can get 4.28% interest in 16 days. That's pretty awesome. So that's kind of just a look at a couple little bits of change. I also introduced the actual Solana logo in here as like for a way to denote the money, as opposed to those little two circles. Those two circles are a little bit more ambiguous if you hadn't seen those before. The Solana symbol is a little bit more recognizable in the blockchain space in general versus those little circles.
I think the text is also easy, more readable, because the grainy background was kind of blending in with the small text. And then also in the previous one, maybe you can kind of switch back to it. They had the label text in gray, and it's really hard to read that. So you and I, well, I'm wearing glasses, but somebody who might have a disability might not be able to see that. It's going to definitely blend. So there's not enough contrast for the label text. Did I miss it? Did you talk a little bit about the menu on the top and how you slimmed that down? So now we only have lend and borrow. You already did. I'm so sorry. Look at me not paying attention to what.
No, that's okay. I know you're juggling a lot of stuff right now while we're having a call. Streaming is no joke, guys. Being a host of a stream is tough. I have the easy job.
This is fun. This is fun. I'm really excited about doing more of this. And we don't want it to be very serious. We want it to be fun and exciting. And like, we want to show our personalities so that people can see like, what does it look like designing at an agency? What are some of the conversations that we're having? We're all really good at certain things, but we're all mentoring each other in different things, which is really cool. So sharing that knowledge with everyone is going to be really exciting for all of us. Was there anything else that you wanted to walk through on the breakdown of the redesign, Phil, or was that everything that you thought about doing?
So there was like one other element to this page, which is like this modal, right? So the actual like action you take on this page is to lend. So if you click on lend right now on Sharky.fi, this is kind of what that modal looks like. So it kind of gives you a little bit more of that. Here's your APY, which we've talked about that, the duration, and then they have this ME floor. That's actually the floor on Magic Eden, which is a big marketplace. Kind of think about it's the Amazon of NFTs on Solana, right? And so they're kind of giving you that floor value. What are people evaluating it worth? And for some reason, I probably like whited it out by accident. But this lets you put in your offer amount and then how much interest you're going to earn on that. And then you can even like put multiple offers in. So if I wanted to offer 5 Solana for a 15 Sol floor value, right? But I wanted to offer like 3 offers. I want to put 3 offers out there. I want to try and get 3 borrowers. Then I'm gonna have to put up 3 times 5, right? 15 SOL. So that's kind of what this number of offers is. And then it tells you your total, and then you can place the offer. Right. So it's a pretty straightforward modal, but even the modal, I was thinking we could probably maybe mess with this a little bit, and maybe we can make some improvements here. So I did touch on the modal a little bit in this guy. Whoop. Okay. So if you click into this collections, here's the idea. I still have my duration. Again, change the APY to your percent per loan, your percent return per loan, put it right in the middle, and then your Magic Eden floor on the right. And then I tried to like set this up so it kind of like does math. It kind of looks like a math equation because that's really what's going on here. So you have an offer, which in this case I put in, okay, I got 39 SOL. It's telling me how much I have in my wallet. How many offers do I want to put in? So instead of just having the option to only do 3 like Sharky does right now, you can only select up to 3. I put in like a little kind of plus minus thing. I don't know if you guys have ever used Airbnb. I like this UI pattern where you kind of are able to, add guests when you're kind of booking something, and these like plus and minus, they're like right beside each other, which is a nice little touch on their UI. So I kind of borrowed that pattern. I really like how they did that. So instead of this being like a drop down for number, right, which is kind of a more conventional, you might have seen that like in early 2000s web, or even up until relatively recently, as people started to really explore user experiences more and better user experiences. This idea of having like a little plus minus for numbers is kind of nice, especially if you're doing small numbers. Most people here aren't going to hit plus up to 100, right? You're going to probably make a few offers. If you're a big spender, maybe you'll do 5 or 10, right? If you're like me, you're just doing 1, right? You're not even going to touch this plus or minus, but it's there. So we kind of show that, yeah, your offer, number of offers, and then your return, kind of just like a little return line right there of like what your return is going to be. In this case, 1.57 SOL for lending 39. That's a pretty good return. And then your kind of offer total down there, which is going to add up, or it's going to be the sum of the multiplication. Well, what do you call it? Sum is like addition, right?
Yep.
I don't know. I'm also, okay. Well, this is multiplication.
Result.
So result. So if I had 39 that I want to lend and I want to do 2 offers, then it'd be 39 times 2 would be my total offer down here. Yeah.
There you go.
So yeah, that's the offer modal. So those are like the main pieces I kind of wanted to touch on this. I know we've already been on the stream for like almost an hour, believe it or not.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, so like a little look again, kind of like real quickly at like a before, and kind of all the different pieces we talked about, from color to amount of content to text hierarchy, accessibility. So that current UI, if you were to go to Sharky.fi right now, whoop, versus a little redesign, make it a little cleaner, hopefully a little more legible, right? A little easier to kind of follow it down the page. And then also that before and after for that modal, kind of what that looks like.
So Phil, tell us how long this took you.
That's really hard to say because I kind of do it in these like little pockets of time, and I kind of come back to it and I'll work on it some more. This is probably like a couple hours. And I didn't just, so I did more than this. I've done other screens in this UI and kind of tweeted about it and played around with other aspects of this. But this one screen and this one modal was probably hour and a half, maybe something like that. Somewhere between 1 and 2 hours.
Okay, so maybe this is a great segue to talk about like, what is your process? Because you put this on Twitter. What? I didn't even know you did that. So you ask your colleagues outside of work for feedback? That's amazing.
Well, I just posted it. I was actually trying to land Sharky as a client. I was shamelessly plugging the work to try and land Sharky as a client, and they hit me up on Twitter. They ended up retweeting like the thing for their community was saying they really were digging the UI. So that was encouraging. I don't think it's probably going to result in work necessarily unless they're watching, and hey, we can talk.
You never know. Yeah, you never know.
But yeah, that was really the main goal of doing this in the first place, was like, can we get them as a client by kind of helping redesign their stuff? Because I really enjoy the platform. Like I said, this is like something I'd want to redesign. Like I like this stuff. I use it. Even though the design right now isn't the best in my opinion, I still use it, right? I still test it because at the end of the day, it's really fun and I really enjoy it. So
So what is the
But
barrier to entry, Phil, when for redesigning for W3? Is it become knowledgeable, start using the materials, or what would you recommend for somebody who's trying to get into product design for Web3?
yeah, you're right. Web3, you can't just like jump into designing something for Web3 necessarily, unless you're like copying pixel for pixel or like exact content, which can get you so far. But when you're trying to come up with a better user experience, you kind of got to understand what's the experience like for Web3, right? So there is like an element of plug yourself in this specific case. The best products that you're going to design for, well, I won't say the best. The stuff you're going to be most excited about designing for is the problems that you have experienced yourself, right? So you know that there's this problem that exists, and I've felt the pain of this problem, right, that I want to solve. So really, to like get into wanting to design in Web3 and in crypto and decentralized applications, you got to use them, right? Find the problems, find where you start getting frustrated. And then you have a good place to like build a solution for it. If you're just trying to build solutions, but you've never experienced the problem, it's a little bit more difficult. It's still doable, but you're not going to be as passionate about solving that problem. So this is what we try to do when we have clients that come in, right? In maybe an industry we haven't worked in before, or a problem we haven't experienced. It's to really like try and get yourself into their shoes, and as much as you can empathize with that problem so that you can really bring a solution that really, is a solution. But Web3, there's like a level of technicality. You really got to get into the middle of it and kind of learn it before you can really design for it. It's going to be hard to design for Web3 if you don't really understand how it works, or at least how to use it, or haven't used it before. So does that answer the question?
Yes, absolutely. I think that's been beneficial for us too, because being able to use the products and actually using them as like for competitive analysis and going through it and seeing the nuances is also going to help you when you're designing, because you're going to see all the edge cases, and you're not going to be missing any pages when you're delivering for a client. So that's really important. So delve into it. If this is what you want to do. I mean, when I thought crypto was one thing and I thought NFTs was another thing. And then I learned that they're all correlating together. So it was really good to kind of get myself into that world. I'm not as experienced as you are, Phil, but I definitely want to get more into it. I think another shameless plug, our Dronies projects kind of got me super excited about it. I actually own some NFTs, which is really cool.
Let's go.
Yep. Yeah. 1 second. I'm trying to see, was there anything else left in your presentation, Phil?
I have basically a thank you for coming to my TED Talk slide.
Yes, I love that.
Which isn't even loading right now. So
oh no.
Yeah, so I probably didn't link the frame or something, right? Let me make sure there's nothing else in here.
I know. I can't believe you're.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. I can't believe you've animated your slides. This is cool. I love it. I wanted to say, where can people find you and learn more about you, Phil?
Yeah, I'm on the Twitters. Reluctantly at first, I was on I avoided. My Twitter says I've been around since 2009 on Twitter. I mean, I guess it's kind of true, but I didn't do anything on that thing for 12 years. So I literally just got into Twitter last year. So anyway, I'm probably most active right now, actually, on Twitter. If you want to like chat, my direct messages, my DMs, as the kids say, is open. Also on Dribble. I've also got like a Medium that I rarely ever update, but I have some articles on there that could be helpful. It's all under FHL Creative, and FHLcreative.com is my own little website, which has like pretty much nothing on it, just my bio and some links.
This is awesome. So I wanted to. I'm getting quiet to let you. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I also wanted to do a great shout out for one of our clients. They're also a W3 a client. Lasso Labs raised $3 million after we worked with them. So that's something that we're really proud of. So we're really excited about doing more projects like this. So Sharky.fi, hit us up. Let us know if you are interested in a redesign.
Yeah. Sorry. I just pulled up the Lasso website just so.
Yes.
LassoLabs.xyz. I don't know why the Web3 world has really gravitated towards .xyz domains, but you know, hey, it is what it is. It's kind of cool. But we didn't do this website, but we did the product. So yeah, if anybody's interested in Lasso Labs is all about finding out opportunities with NFTs that you own. NFTs really are like membership passes in a lot of senses. So if you own certain NFTs, you might have access to certain events or certain merchandise, certain opportunities, discounts, things like that. So Lasso is going to be aggregating all those things on a single platform. Super cool. Definitely encourage you guys to check them out.
People in the chat are saying, why isn't it dark mode if it's Web3, Phil?
It was which thing?
Oh, the redesign that you built for Sharky.fi.
Y'all, I like light mode. I'm not trying to keep it dark mode. I think we need more light in Web3 personally. That's what I think. Everything's all dark. I don't know, man. I know that also, I think a lot of that also has to do with, it's a lot of developer heavy stuff. And a lot of, if you think about, developers spend a lot of time, especially engineers, like developers spend a lot of time in command line. So you guys think about like MS-DOS back in the black screen, green text, right? Typing, little blinking rectangular cursor. That's what like terminal and like command line interfaces are like. So I think a lot of the dark mode is not only had, like you said, introduced because of this futuristic kind of feel, but also because like it's like a familiar interface. I think for developers is like living in dark mode because you're typing in these command line interfaces a lot. So it's kind of a familiar thing. For me, I'm like, dude, we just need to bring in some light. I mean, you can create a dark mode toggle that I never hit, but you know, some people like that dark mode thing, but dude, I'm all about the light mode.
I love it. I think light mode or dark mode, as long as you are able to kind of understand color contrast and making sure that it's ADA compliant, it doesn't really matter. To me, they're both for me, they're both good for my eyes. So that's really good. I wanted to say that some people were saying like they would love to see you actually do a live redesign on the stream. So that would be something that we can kind of think about doing. We'd love to start doing more like that. But if you are watching, definitely subscribe to our channel because we're going to be doing more tea times. Land and Brand is coming back. And if you don't know what Land and Brand is basically our team gets online. You know, the chat chooses what country we land in, and then from there we find a business that we actually rebrand. So stay tuned. That's coming back pretty soon. Once we have a date, we will be sharing that on our Twitter. So subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on.
We do it all in an hour, right? Land and Brand's like in 1 hour. You land a place and you redesign the logo in 1 hour. It's kind of like a sprint, in 1 hour, major sprint.
And it's and then we have multiple team members that are going to be joining. So it's not just the brand team. We have product designers, illustrators. We all jump in and kind of do our own interpretation of what we think a brand would look like for that business. And then at the end, you get to choose your favorite, and the winner gets bragging rights. And for us, that's like a big deal, especially since we have the color war going on. But yeah, stay tuned. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our channel. If you have any questions, if there are things that you'd like to see from us during tea time or for Land and Brand, please leave a comment in the comment section. And we're really excited to see you guys next time. I don't know what happened. Where did I?
Oh, I stopped sharing screen.
Oh,
yeah, I stopped sharing my screen. Yeah, you're good.
Where did you go? Oh, there you go. All right. So nice seeing you guys. I will definitely be posting the next tea time with Unfold on our Twitter. So make sure to follow us there. It was really, really, really cool seeing you work, Phil, and hopefully maybe you can kind of live stream your process next time to kind of allow people to see how you make decisions when you're making decisions as you're redesigning. So until next time, fun. Thank you so much for joining us for tea time with Unfold. Thank you, Phil. Appreciate it. And we will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
See y'all.